John Bohlinger with Premier Guitar. I'm with Walter Carter of Carter Vintage Guitars in Nashville, Tennessee. Walter, thanks for having us, man.
Oh, thanks for coming by. It's nice to hear this played.
Oh, jeez, man.
I don't think that's what Gibson had in mind. But it was. That's pretty close to what the first players who embraced the V played, like Albert King,
right,
and Lonnie Mack.
Yeah, the word is when they were first released, people didn't know what to do with them. It was 1957, right?
Yeah, 58.
58.
And you would have to stand up, as you've discovered. It's kind of awkward in the.
So awkward. It's funny because you
even with the little rubber skid.
Right. Right. You know, I see like Bonamassa just slaying it on his. I'm like, man, it is a real adjustment, particularly when you're sitting down. But you know.
Well, what the ad copy or the catalog copy for this aimed it at a performer with a flair for the visual.
Yeah.
It didn't say much. I mean, the rest of the description was pretty much like the Les Paul.
Yeah.
Because the pickups and electronics are pretty similar.
Well, tell us about the basic ingredients. So, is this a Carina body?
Yeah. It's a sort of a substitute for mahogany, typically lighter weight, lighter in color also, which was more in keeping with the 50s modern furniture and just the general decor and art of the
I never thought about it, but yeah, that is totally like 50s furniture.
And Gibson called it Carina. African limbo wood was what it was before that.
Yeah.
And the sort of, I mean, they call it a limed finish, but it doesn't have the real pigmented limed finish that furniture had.
Sure.
Or the Gibson SG. I mean,
specials, the
Les Paul
specials, right? The TV whites. Yeah.
Right. So this was it was designed mostly for visuals, much as you are obviously a performer who has a flair.
Sure, yeah.
You've got the turquoise roses and
the cowboy shirt.
The cowboy shirt.
The cowboy shirt's mine.
And the high hair.
Yeah.
This is the guitar. You're the customer for this guitar.
Okay, sold. Let me just mortgage my home. And what I love about it is, it's got that whole kind of, 57 Chevys and Cadillacs with the wings, and it's like everything had this kind of Buck Rogers vibe to it.
Yeah, but functionally, it's almost a Les Paul that you're minus one tone control. You've got a master tone instead of two individual tones, but
which totally I think makes more sense. I like that.
Selector switch, same humbuckers that would be in a Les Paul, same tune-o-matic bridge, same single ring Clouson tuners, just pretty much. It's the quintessential 50s Gibson electric, just with a different body shape.
But unlike a Les Paul, I feel like it's got more spank to it, which I would have thought with the maple cap of a traditional Les Paul, you'd have, it'd be spankier. But this, do you find that true, or is that just my?
I think everything's different.
Yeah.
That's obviously more a function of pickups.
Yeah.
Than anything else, but all the other components, density and especially rigidity of the neck.
Right.
And that brings us to a special neck rigidity issue.
Yeah,
these things had some neck problems, and so a previous owner has done a homemade but highly effective repair job here when the neck cracked, and those are just a couple of countersunk screws. And
that's great. It ain't going nowhere.
No, the neck's stronger now than it was when it left the factory.
It may break again, but not there.
Yeah, right.
And not while I'm holding it. Man. And it's funny, the neck is chunkier than I imagined.
Well, 58 is a, it would be the standard neck for 58, rather than a separate kind of neck for the V.
So it feels pretty similar to the Les Pauls of the time?
Yeah, or an ES. The 335 came out the same year, so similar to those.
God, man, they were really... Gibson was just hitting on all cylinders back then, man.
Well, they went way over the top with the design, and by design.
Yeah.
These were, I don't know if Leo Fender ever actually said Fender's a stagio. I mean, Gibson's a stagio company, but somebody told Ted McCarty at Gibson that Leo had said that.
Really?
So that's how these the V and the Explorer and the Modern came about, and he was just Ted had come into Gibson in 1948, I believe, and became the president of the operation there in 1950, right as Fender was coming out with the Broadcaster.
Yeah.
And so he had that, they poo-pooed it at first and then sort of had that rubbed in his face.
Right.
And he reacted by getting Les Paul to endorse a Gibson. So
Yeah.
that was in 52. And 2 years later, Fender comes out with a Strat, which is, the culmination of everything that the Tele started. Mm-hmm. And, just then, and in the opinion of many now, the ultimate design in an electric solid body guitar. So that coupled with a statement like, well, Gibson's hadn't had a good idea in 50 years, or a new idea, that kind of got McCarty mad about it. And he was an engineer by training. He had never actually worked as an engineer, and he'd worked for the Wurlitzer company before Gibson, but more in a financial end of it. But so he pulled out some drafting tools and he didn't do it all, but he got some other people around him, and they came up with 3 designs. And of course, by that time, really since the first electric guitar, everybody knew that the body shape could be anything.
Huh.
Solid bodies were slow in acceptance, but just because of the way they looked. They didn't look like a traditional guitar. But lap steels were along at the same time.
Yeah.
And the very first ones of those were cast aluminum, so they didn't have any sound. Right. And within a couple of years, you had lap steels that looked like the Empire State Building.
Right.
Or consoles that were just squared off at the ends. And so you could do, and Fender was proving also that you could do a body shape. You could get creative with a body shape.
Right.
So Ted just went all the way.
And Les Paul had the log too, which just shows,
Yeah, that was a homemade thing he built on a 4x4 piece of pine, and attached sides to it that he could, as a gimmick, would take off. And, so it was well known. It's just the commercial viability was what was in question, and anyone concerned about that had valid concerns because this was a commercial flop.
Yeah.
And
now, how many did they make?
The shipping total showed 98.
Wow.
Mostly, probably all made in 58, but a few shipped out in 59.
Wow.
About a tenth of that for Explorers that followed it, and then they were doing so badly they never got around to making the Modern, the third model.
Wow.
So
yeah, you hear rumors of that guitar being around.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I've seen one that's part of the rumors, and
really,
yeah, it's questionable.
Yeah.
But the V it just didn't. Well, there was no rock and roll, to speak of. It was Elvis, I guess, had just gotten drafted, and Scotty Moore played a Gibson hollow body, a pretty conventional looking guitar. I guess you had Buddy Holly playing a Strat at that time, but that was. I guess it was exciting rock and roll for the time. Looking back, it seems a little tame.
Yeah.
And certainly not wild enough to warrant this kind of thing. So why a blues man like Albert King would play it? Probably because he had a little flair for performance.
Totally. Yeah.
Or that was the guitar closest at hand.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You might have had a bargain on it.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanted some hum.
A lot of those blues guys got bargains on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blues guys used them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's it. Yeah, it's like there's probably a music store that could not move this thing, and he stopped when he walked into it one day, wanting humbuckers.
Yeah,
and
then you wouldn't have seen Albert King on TV anywhere.
Yeah,
or Lonnie Mack, maybe on American Bandstand. Maybe I'm not sure if it was even going by that time.
Right.
And even later, when they reissued it in '67, and Hendrix had a couple of V's. He wasn't on the Ed Sullivan Show,
No.
There was no other outlet to see people. So, getting a guitar out and around was wholly dependent on live performances.
Right. Well, and interestingly enough, this one has the original case. Grab that, show that thing. It's just too cool. Yeah. This is the case it came in. The guitar was $247.50
and then extra $75 for the case.
Wow.
And it's, you know, like other cases, Gibson cases of the 50s, you've got the pink lining and the brown covering. This still has a strap by one of the previous owners, and he's got his, where are they? Oh, they just came off. His reading glasses.
Yeah, just in case.
Glued to the strap so that he doesn't lose them.
That's some cool case candy right there.
Yeah.
So
that owner was in Mesquite. This guitar lived most of its life in Mesquite, Texas, and then ended up with the owner's son in the D.C. area
yeah.
before it came here. And
Wow, how cool. Now,
Yeah.
what do these things sell for? I mean, because it's weird. There's the blue book, which isn't really a very good indication. Essentially, things sell for what they sell for, which
Right.
may or may not
Well,
have nothing to do with the book.
the more data, sales data that anybody doing a price guide has, then the more accurate
Yeah.
their pricing is going to be. One small problem with this case. Yeah, a lot of guys, you can tell the previous V owners because they're missing that finger. We had this one priced at $395,000 because of the broken neck. So, one without the neck issue would be, you know, significantly more than that.
These just never come up for sale.
No.
I mean, there's, and what does the case go for?
Oh, thousands! If you need a case, if
Yeah.
you got one without a case,
Yeah.
you should be. That's the first thing you should be suspicious of. If somebody's got one of these and doesn't have the case,
Right.
especially if the guitar is in good condition.
Yeah.
If the guitar is just beat to hell, then possibly the case got beat to hell too.
Yeah.
So that's if you're looking for authenticity, you know, a picture of the original owner with the guitar would go a long way, and then
Right.
the original case with the owner's one of the previous owner's name on it there with an old label maker.
That's great.
There's a story that's told about the people who were making forgeries of these, and that they would buy an original and separate the case and put the case with the forgery. So you never know what you're going to get. It could be that all the ones with cases are the forgeries, but now they're accepted as I don't really want to confuse the market
Yeah,
that way,
right.
but
Yeah, I mean,
you got to be careful.
Well, yeah. Do you run into forgeries very often here?
Not of these,
But of just finished guitars. in general?
Oh, we've seen quite a few counterfeit Les Pauls.
Really? Like 50s era?
Oh no, yeah, well, yeah, but or even recent.
Okay.
Not
Oh.
very good. I mean, that sort of look like a custom with a logo that's kind of wrong, and if they have the custom inlay, it's small and
Yeah.
easy to pick out. I think they're getting better.
Yeah. That's not great news.
No.
Yeah. Man, well, you know what? Let me just. What really impressed me about this
play some
guitar
more.
is I like the ergonomic way it's laid out and the fact that, you know, it's got your bridge is right there, so it's kind of right in a row. You sort of know where you are with it. And those PAFs are just so dreamy. And it probably doesn't hurt that we're plugged into this overdrive special.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I thought they looked familiar.
Yeah, just had that laid around.
Yeah.
But it's really a. Man, just real definition,
Yeah.
and love you roll it down and it cleans up.
Right.
Jeez. Just dreamy, man. Hey, also, you have a reissue of the new.
Yeah, we got a brand
right
new,
over here.
a brand new V here.
Yeah. Now, just for a taste test.
Yeah.
So in '67, they came out with this design.
Yeah, they reissued the V, but it wasn't exactly like that. The knobs are in a triangular arrangement here.
Right.
Switches opposite end, and they did away with that V plate there and just used the standard two-pneumatic stop bar tailpiece.
Which I think this is such a cooler design. I mean, that's just great. It's that one to me looks almost a little clunky, although that's what Hendrix played, right?
Yeah.
It almost looks just less sleek, and I love the straight line of these.
Yeah, all of that, the lines that kind of work together on that one aren't on this one.
Yeah, they're going for something different. And were those mahogany bodies that they're using?
Yes, when they came back out, it was mahogany.
Yeah.
Now, they did a reissue of that with the Carina in '82, and then again when the custom shop got organized in the '90s. But this is this is more a reissue of the '67.
Wow, well, what a just absolute joy to play this thing.
We'll play some more. Take us on home.
Yeah, take it home. And I love that. Almost looks like it came off a Gibson amp, doesn't it?
Well, it's a little molded plastic logo. They used it on some lap steels.
Really?
I'm not sure if it's exactly what they use for a badge on the amps, but yeah, that's the same kind of thing.
That's all about marketing. They're thinking, let's get our name, let's get branding out there, let's get our name seen. That's too cool. Well, man, I can't thank you enough for having us. It's just a joy I can't believe I'm holding this thing. You grow up seeing them, and then actually to hold one is amazing. So thanks, man.
Thanks for coming
what
by.
a treat. Till next time.